Hello and welcome to Marlins After Dark. Why? Because, of course, no team keeps you up late at night like the Miami Marlins. I'm your host, Sean Millerick, joined tonight by Eli Sussman, Jeremiah Geiger, and Kevin Barral. And with this many people on the panel, we are, of course, drafting again. In the spirit of the Academy Awards, we are conducting the official Miami Marlins Oscars Draft on this show. So we'll top it off with first of all, we'll find out how everyone's doing tonight. We'll go around, but also maybe get a little Oscars prediction as well. Go around the horn, starting with you, Eli. How are you? And any Oscar predictions for this weekend?
Doing very well, Sean. Great to have you on, as always. And I hope some people are watching on the cross-posting that we're doing on the Fish on First accounts on both Twitter and YouTube to further amplify this draft. But those people are not going to get any great real-life Oscars insight from me. I think in total I saw maybe like 4 new movies this past year, and none that, as far as I know, none that were nominated for any of the major awards in there. So it's I'll be just as surprised as anybody how those actually play out. I'm more likely to watch this show than I am to have watched like all the nominated movies.
Gotcha. What was your favorite movie of the year? New movie?
Oh man. I guess I'd have to go with ones that I actually saw in theaters.
Drum roll.
Yeah, it wasn't a great year in terms of me actually picking out the ones that and getting like good results out of them. I guess it was this past year with the latest Equalizer movie. Was that Equalizer?
That was a good one.
3?
Solid
Yeah.
Choice. Equalizer 10. But
I think it was only the third one, whichever number it was. But that was pretty satisfying.
No, that was a fun one for me as well. Kevin, Oscar prediction or just favorite movie of the year that you saw in the theater?
I wish I could tell you I watch movies, and I really don't. I'm not a big movie guy, but since we're in the baseball spirit, I did watch Moneyball once again this year, and always a classic, always great. And I don't watch the Oscars. No offense to anyone who does. I'm not that guy. It's either baseball or sports for me. And no, thank you for having me on, Sean. It's an honor as always.
No, glad to have you. I watched Moneyball as well again. So I think just it's always always got to watch all the baseball movies before the season gets underway. Jeremiah, how about you? Favorite movie of the year?
Or, definitely last summer, I would say Oppenheimer and the Barbie movie. Kind of both of those were going. Yeah, I kind of had to see it. Everybody was talking about it, and I think it was funny because I went to the theater and I watched. It's a 3-hour movie, and my, you're sitting there and the bomb finally goes off and it's completely quiet, and I remember I'm like, what the hell is that? Like, that's it? And then all of a sudden it just explodes, and I yell because I don't handle jump scares well. It's really funny. I was like, oh shit. So I'd vote for that one.
That's getting my vote as well. If you're getting one Oscars prediction of how this will fall out, no pun intended, I'm definitely going with Oppenheimer as the big winner. I had to do Opp and Barbie as well. The biggest surprise for me, probably other than liking them as much as I did, was the fact that I needed to keep checking my phone for Marlins Red scores alert, I believe, when I saw it, because the Marlins were playing an impactful baseball game in late August had real consequences on the standings. So that was a welcome surprise for me. But since coming up with the Marlins Oscars draft, I guess I'm out there as a big movie nerd. Have been as long as I could. Probably about as long as I've been a baseball nerd. In terms of really caring about the Oscars, it's always, I think it went back to 1998 when Saving Private Ryan lost to Shakespeare in Love. And I was very upset about that. So I've loved Saving Private Ryan. Like, how could this happen? But then I'm like, well, I needed to have this informed opinion. I got to go see these, at least, when it used to be 5, see 3 out of 5. When it got to be 10, that got dicier. but see as many nominated things as I could too.
I should say lastly, because this is generally a baseball podcast, is I saw the Yogi Berra documentary that also came out. I think that came out relatively early in the year. It's easier appreciated if you either go with a Yankees fan like I did, or I guess you have some context there, because it was a little biased. It was the production was kind of led by his granddaughter, and she even narrated part of it. So it wasn't like meant to be objective. It was meant to like paint him as as fascinating a figure as possible. But I thought it was overall like very enjoyable. You learned some stuff about him and just how unique he was.
Nice. I definitely do want to see that. That's going to be. Hopefully, the Marlins will do enough winning that I won't be too ready to fire up new baseball movies once the season gets underway. But a lot of times, Marlins seasons have offered me the opportunity to be really interested in watching baseball movies and documentaries to cheer myself up. But for tonight, we'll be doing the Marlins Oscars Draft. So we're using the Oscar categories as inspiration so we'll be hitting the major categories: Best Picture. So we have a chance to draft what we consider to be the best season in Marlins history, with the best story. So some of those might seem telegraphed as pretty obvious, but as we get through, maybe there'll be a surprise. There's 4 of us on the panel. So maybe that just means 4 playoff trips, but maybe it doesn't. Maybe there'll be a zag argument for one of the other seasons. Best Director, we're going to be looking for Best Manager. And for these individual categories, we generally are looking to tie this to a season. So we're looking for a single season performance from the skipper, in this category. Best Screenplay, it's kind of stretching it here, but this will be the best. And I think even with 4 of us, I think we'll do single season here as well. Single season effort from a general manager. So if we just go career, I think there's a pretty obvious number 1. But if we break it down into year, then it could be a little more competition there. Best Actor, Best Starting Player, so member of the starting rotation for the majority of the year, or starting lineup for the regular of the season. Best Supporting Actor, Best Utility Player or reliever. I feel we're just kind of going to be on the honor system here for, I guess, what constitutes utility. That's where you get through. I thought about coming up with an at-bat number or crunch, but just then that was too much homework for this. But that we could agree that they're a utility player. And then Best Marlins Song. Best song, the Oscars do Best Song, and we'll just for shits and giggles, we'll throw Best Song in there as well. All right, so clear on the categories. All right, let's spin. Let's spin to see who goes first. It's a very slow roll on the spinner. And actually, I have 5 names on the spinner. We'll try that again.
Oh boy.
And Eli, you're drafting first in first position.
Every time, or just for the first award?
We'll snake draft through. So you're starting. Okay. So Eli first. Jeremiah second.
Oh my God, there's no way. Well, actually, if I'm last, it's fine. I get back-to-back picks. So
yeah, you have to double up. It's not a bad position to be in this one. Oh, it's right on the line, but you will be in that wheel position. I'm picking third, which means Kevin is fourth, but gets to double down at the turn.
There you go.
Okay. Have a Word document I'll share once we get a couple categories going. But Kevin, do you want to go?
Oh, I'm first. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wait.
Am I first or
Eli?
Eli first?
No, Eli is first.
Okay, I was gonna say.
Sorry, I'm talking as I am typing, which I should avoid doing. So Eli, you have the honor of the first pick.
Oh, best song.
And which award are we starting with?
Oh, you can pick any order. So it's whatever you are the most interested in getting across these categories. So you can start. Anyway, what do you think is the most important thing to get to win the Twitter poll that we'll do at the end of this?
I want to start with best screenplay, general manager for a single season.
You might. All right. So what are you going to? Who do you select?
Well, this might surprise some people, but to me, I think the very obvious choice for this award would be Michael Hill for the 2020 season, overcoming an unprecedented COVID outbreak within his own team within days of the season starting, arranging a handful of trades and minor league signings and call-ups for a team that had mediocre expectations at best for that season, and cobbling it together in such a way to keep them in the hunt in time for the trade deadline, then swinging a couple pretty brilliant trades, most notable ones to acquire Starling Marte for 50 cents on the dollar, and also to somehow dispose of Jonathan VR and to get Griffin Conan in return. From start to finish, I thought that was an awesome performance. It was an abbreviated performance. It wasn't a typical feature film, but it was for however long that performance actually lasted in movie terms. That was brilliant work, unprecedented work, and one that I guess is going to be very hard to duplicate just because of those circumstances, but absolutely thrilling. And unfortunately proved to be Michael Hill's swan song in that role before parting ways after the season, which was in itself a very odd development.
Yeah, that's definitely scratching my head over that one. Wondering what was going on behind the scenes when that occurred. He was definitely high on my list for this category. Well-deserved kudos for pulling many, many, many rabbits out of his hat over the course of that season. Kevin, Jeremiah, anything to add on Michael Hill before?
No, Eli pretty much touched on all of it.
Okay, Jeremiah, you are up.
So, best actors, like best starter, as in any player,
starting position player or starting pitcher.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go with best actor, and my nominee is gonna be Giancarlo Stanton.
In
my all-time, 2017.
Okay.
2017. No, just captivated me as a fan. I think captivated everybody. He had the chase for 60. My all-time favorite Marlin, and certainly a season that I'll never forget, as he hit 59 home runs, obviously won the National League MVP, came so close to 60, but it was a great season to be a fan, that's for sure, even though the playoffs were a little bit out of reach. From an individual standpoint, as a Marlins fan, I don't think I've seen a better offensive performance from a hitter ever.
Okay, it was definitely a ton of fun to watch. Eli, Kevin, anything on Big G's quest for the record books?
Not much to say. That he was a stud in 2017. Guy hit a home run essentially every day.
And just like Mike Hill, proves to be his final season with the Marlins, despite doing as much as you could possibly do.
He went out with a bang
during the show. Yeah, a lot of fun to watch. All right, I will go for Best Picture, and I will take the 2003 Miami Marlins, the second World Championship, the one that while I think all flags are ultimately equal, I'm going to take the second one. It was not the kind of seen as the title that was earned from a lot of homegrown pieces together. Much more of a pleasant surprise. Going into 97, you knew that team was supposed to make the playoffs at least and go on a deep run. If not, maybe they weren't going to be good enough to topple the Braves and make it to the series. But you expected good things from 97. And also for about half of the 97 series, there was all the chatter about what was going on behind the scenes in the Marlins front offices. Didn't really have to deal with as much of that in 2003. You just got to enjoy the ride And since that happened when I was in college, it's much more vivid in my mind than all the ins and outs of the 97 series. So for taking best picture and the 2003 world champion Miami Marlins.
So I'm up.
You're up.
All right. I'm gonna go with best actor, and I'm gonna go with 2005 Miguel Cabrera. Guy was great. The year I was born, I guess, if you want to use that excuse as well. Yeah, he was great. 323 batting average, 561. I mean, not much you could get out of, not much more. You could get 151 OPS plus, 33 home runs as well. So, yeah, we'll go with Miggy Cabrera, who I believe that was his second to last year with the team until he got traded in after 06. So, I guess I go again since we're going Snake, and best picture is best season, if I'm correct. So I'm going to go recency bias. I'm going to go with the 2023 season for best picture. I mean, Marlins made the playoffs. It was a great ride. Eli's holding in his laughter. It's fine. It was a lot of fun. I mean, you can't say nothing else. It was a great atmosphere in Philly, no matter what the result was. And I know Sandy struggled, but it was a fun year, no matter what. That was the first time I had been able to watch a full season for them to make the playoffs. Eli,
I can't criticize you for that.
Yeah, all right.
I'm with you, Kevin. I'm with you.
No comment. No further comment.
Someone's gonna choose 2020, and that's not gonna be me.
Yeah.
2020 was fun too, like you gotta look at it, how fun this season. Oh my god.
Yeah, there was a lot going on in 2020. So yeah.
I'll just say those two picks. It's just different flavors, different approaches to this exercise.
I will say that 2005 Miggy in that range, that at least for being on the Marlins and remembering it clearly, that was probably the first time I'm like, oh wow, like the best player in baseball plays for my team, or something that you can make the argument. It's like one of these elite talents, and not just so not just best player on the Marlins, but really appreciating that this is one of the best players to play the game. Period. So
I could have gone 06 Miggy too, to be honest with you, and that was eventually his better season, but he showed a lot more power in 05, so I had to go there.
Okay. All right. So, and we're back to me. Okay. I'm going to got my best picture. I will go. I'm going to go best director at this point, and I'm going to just kind of double down on my 2003 season. I'm going to take Jack McKeon as manager, manager of the year winner. Came in, took over for Jeff Torborg after the Marlins got off to that, I believe, 16-22 start, and just seemed to be able to do no wrong. Certainly there was a ton of talent on the roster. Things started to shake out, but McKeon had the golden touch that season. Cigar chopping beloved icon down in South Florida for a few years there, and I think I could argue is the most successful managerial performance we've seen from the Marlins down here. So that's an easy one for me. Trader Jack McKeon for best director in 2003.
Sean, you should remove what says best song so we could see Jeremiah's face. He's completely blocked.
Yes, I will. Thank you.
I'm still here, guys.
There we go. Yeah.
And then at least Jeremiah is not only visible again, he is up, unless anyone has any Jack McKeon thoughts.
Good pick. What was his winning percentage that year after taking over? That's going to be a very difficult mark for anybody to ever match, because off the top of my head, was it 75-49? Yeah. Won over 60% of his games. So over the course of the full season, that translates to that particular mark is going to be tough to assail. And then on top of that, in the postseason, his role in putting Josh Beckett in that position to start the Game 6 clincher that has been very often cited, that his impact was incredible that year.
Permanently imprinted on the brain, the clip from the 2003 DVD. And it's like, again, like, no doubt in my mind, he was going. Pitch. I was not waiting for Game 7. So definitely agree. Jeremiah, you are visible and up.
Awesome. So I'm going to go with Best Picture, and I'm not going to go with 97, and I'm not going to go with 2020 because I feel like both of those are kind of too obvious. And personally, I wasn't alive for the 97 season. I think I watched highlights, obviously, especially during COVID, kind of had nothing else to do. So just sit and watch, old highlights and replays. But I'm going to go with 2016. Because that was, for me, just one of the most fun seasons as a Marlins fan. I was 14 years old. First time I saw the Marlins play live, and we had Giancarlo, Ozuna, Yelich, Real Muto. I mean, Ichiro was on the team, and Ichiro with the chase for 3,000 hits. Jose Fernandez, he was on the team and dealing. And looking back on that season, I think as a fan, just you get to the trade deadline and you're still in contention, and you end up getting Andrew Kashner and Fernando Rodney, who absolutely were miserable. But you look back on it, and it was the ride. It was fun, and as a fan, it was a good time.
In terms of the Ichiro chase, definitely some of the most fun I've had. I went out to San Diego, and I saw him pass Pete Rose for professional hits, if you count his career in Japan. And I could assure you, everyone in attendance was perfectly fine counting those Japanese hits that day. Place erupted, Padres fans stood up, and I missed it by one game in Colorado. I saw a hit 2,999 live, and then was in Great Rocky Mountain National Park the next day when he hit when he hit 3,000. I bought the tickets, timed it onto schedule, and it was off by one.
So close.
Definitely a fun memory. Okay, if no other 2016 thoughts, then that we cycle back to Eli there at the top, and he gets to pick twice in a row.
Well, I know exactly where I'm going with these two picks. First, I will go into the Best Actor category. Pick 2022 version of Sandy Alcantara. Sandy, best all-around pitching performance by a Marlins starter in the entire history of the franchise. And he had his imprint all over that season, not just from like being the most valuable pitcher out there, but really driving the entire narrative of pitchers around baseball, winning it unanimously that year. I mean, Stanton got his MVP, but he had to squeak by. If you look back at that voting, he was sweating it at the very end. Whereas with Sandy, he had that statement game against the Dodgers after having one of his rare slip-ups against them on the road and then getting his revenge. I'll remember that for a long time, pitching a complete game against them at home to essentially seal that award with a few weeks ago. So even in a year where the team itself was so bad, he was phenomenal enough for them to spark a marketing campaign around him for the establishment of Sandy's Beach. He was honored with I think he has his own patch of beach somewhere in that they like gave him and dedicated to him. There is like an actual Sandy's Beach portion of Miami Beach now that was dedicated to him and all that stuff. So kind of regardless of what his career looks like on the other side of his Tommy John, his legacy is pretty secure with how just incredible that was. What a throwback performance, the epitome of an ace. And now I need to dip into a category we haven't touched yet, best song, because there's quite a drop off here from the top pick to everything else. Best song is Marlins Will Soar.
Oh my God.
By Creed. Not only the song, but the music video is really what puts it over the top. And that is it's at this point, how old is that? I think it might be coming up on 15 years, somewhere between like 13 and 15 years at this point, and
Okay.
it slaps every single time. So that was, yeah, that will live on for a long time, and always get you pumped up.
So
I think it's a
quick
smart
question.
move taking a song you liked. Kevin,
So
go ahead.
best song a Marlins song, like a walk-up song, or is it any song?
So I was going totally by, I guess, like Marlins inspired composition, for this, not walk up music, because otherwise we're all just fighting for JP's walk up song. But so yeah, Marlins inspired composition. So Eli's on the right track here with Marlins Will Soar.
Okay.
Come on, Marlins,
I need to find this one now.
I don't even know what I would pick for this, like, to be honest.
I had some backups. We had a whole category on Marlins Jeopardy about, I think we called it Marlins music, and that was a fun one. So if you really dive in there, you can find some stuff. But I feel confident that
I know what I'm
there.
picking. I forgot about this one.
Okay, well, I think you're up then.
So I'm going to go. I'll save my best song for a little later. I'm gonna go with best screenplay, and yeah, I'm gonna go with Skip Schumacher / Kim Eng 2023. Kind of throw a shout out to both of them.
Okay.
Just the way that they established, or Skip especially established, the culture here after just losing seasons, and to take them as a first time manager to the postseason, really can't be understated. You really can't undersell that. And Kim, we know she's no longer with the organization, but the trade deadline, the guts that she had to get Jake Berger and Josh Bell to really push this team into that second wild card spot. I'm going to always remember that. I'm going to always remember those contributions, and I'm super excited for Skip Schumacher as our manager, and just he's a winner. The guy can win. So 2023 front office and Skip for sure.
Okay. Like it. I'm almost tempted to go best song now, but I think I'm just going to trust. I'm going to trust the age gap here. I think I can hold off on revealing my song choice. I will go with, instead, I think what I really want to walk away with is my own best screenplay here, and I'm going to go with. I'll go with Dave Dombrowski, and I'll.
Damn it, man.
Dave Dombrowski, and I'll take 97. I'll take 97 Dombrowski. I'll take putting the moves together to secure the 97 World Series. I think Dombrowski is easily, if you go career, I think he's far and away the best GM and in franchise history. Was there since the beginning, got the team together, but 97 added those right pieces to the roster, got Alex Fernandez, got Moises Alou, traded for some players that might come up later. In this podcast, and added the right pieces to the roster to bring that first championship home to South Florida for baseball. So Dave Dombrowski, 1997.
All right, so I guess I'm up.
You're up.
You got my pick. So I guess I'll go with Larry Beinfest in 2003 for best screenplay. Obviously, they won the World Series there. I'm gonna save best song. I'm still trying to find the name of the song, but I have it engraved in my head. So best director, I'm gonna go with let's go Don Mattingly in 2020. I told Eli I was going to make this choice, and he won Manager of the Year. He was a big part of that playoff team. So yeah, I mean, there's just no other way to say it. Donnie is the longest tenured manager in Marlins history at the end of the day. He has, I believe, the most wins as well, given he's been here the longest. But that 2020 season definitely was something special. I believe they clinched on the day that that was the anniversary of Jose's passing and everything. So it's definitely a big day it's a big year for Donnie, and he was a part of that and had to really guide a team and really manage almost perfectly to win the games they had. And yeah, you got to go Donnie there.
Okay, hard to argue with the impact he made on that roster. I think I'll go song now. I'll step in. I thought about best actor, but 3 of my top 4 picks are still on the board. So we could do in danger. I think I'd be really disappointed if I lost Go Marlins by Gloria Estefan. The 97 title celebration song, ran on all the news networks down in South Florida. It's on the 97 video. Yeah, at the end, just wrote her own original composition. And I think she also re-sang Reach from the 96 Olympics too, as part of this massive concert they did capping off the 97 World Series. But then she wrote her own song just about the Marlins that it still slaps today and brings back all the right memories. So Go Marlins Go by Gloria Estefan.
Nice.
And okay, back to Jeremiah.
So I'm going to go with Best Director here, and I'm going to go with Jim Leyland, 1997. Obviously, directing the team to get their first World Series championship. Baseball guy through and through, and obviously elected to the Hall of Fame, which is pretty cool. Saw that he really wasn't going in, like his plaque isn't going to have a specific team's logo, which I thought was interesting. I spent a lot of years in Detroit, Pittsburgh, Miami, or Florida back then. So, but to be able to, you got to be recognized if you bring a team their first World Series championship. Mm-hmm. So, great manager,
unquestioned, and just him going in hatless just really rings as super classy from Leyland, and
for sure,
a career full of classy actions.
I know that Jeremiah kind of tied him into the Kim Eng bundle with his best screenplay, but
still on the board if you want it.
Yeah, for best director, I think clearly the one of the top 4 would have to be Skip Schumacher's performance in 2023. Rookie manager.
You'll love this.
Yeah, he just did. Skip, if you're watching this, I know you always watch my stuff. You outstanding job in your first year with the team on all fronts, and it's reflected as clearly as anywhere with the performance in all those 1-run games. One of the very best performances we've seen, certainly in franchise history, in terms of outperforming what the Pythagorean record would suggest with this team was. It was improbable as the season went on. I think everybody kind of came around to it, that there was something magical happening over there. And so many different players performed well in those clutch situations. You have to tip your hat to what the coaching staff and specifically the manager did to put those players in position to prepare those players to execute in the most high leverage situations in such a way that in a year where they got outscored considerably by their opponents, had the worst run differential of any playoff team ever, but yet they made the playoffs. And that is a testament to what he did. So hoping that his managerial career in Miami carries on for many more years, and he has other years that will be in contention with 2023 for what he did. But wow, that was really fantastic to watch. And I know that his fingerprints were all over that team, despite it being his very first year on the job. For best supporting actor, in this case, a utility player or reliever here,
I'm sure you're going to pick a reliever. Is that right?
I will in this case. Because
God.
There's nothing that really popped at the top of my mind in terms of a clear number 1 here. But in Marlins history, for reliever performance and specifically closer performance, Armando Benitez in 2004. This came up earlier in the day.
Yeah.
With a separate podcast about how he still holds the Marlins franchise record 20 years later for saves in a single season. And it wasn't, in addition to that, it was just the run prevention ridiculous. A 1.29 ERA in 2004. He allowed 10 earned runs for the entire season. For a lot of relievers, that's just a bad month. You allow 10 earned runs. For him, that was the entire season. A whip of 0.82. That you just do not see that very often at all. Obviously, an all-star. It was his little Marlins season, and it wasn't quite enough for that team coming off the World Series to stay in contention the entire way that year. But he certainly helped their odds in that case. Yeah, there are a few great reliever seasons. I didn't want to lean too hard on recent history and pick Tanner Scott, but maybe somebody else will in this category, because even though with Benitez, it's a full run difference in ERA, and for him to man that closer spot the entire year, as Marlins fans have realized in recent years, it is not a given that you're going to have one closer over the course of the whole year. It is becoming even more rare for somebody you to be able to trust a single player in that high pressure position the entire year. And he did exactly what you want to do, what you expect from a dominant guy in the ninth inning.
Very high on my list for supporting actor. So good pick. Okay, see that, Jeremiah?
So I'm going to go with best supporting, and had to, I was thinking about should I go like a role player, pinch hitter type guy, but Eli went reliever, so I'm going to go with reliever, and got to show this guy some love. He was forgotten. I feel like a lot of people don't really remember him too much, but AJ Ramos, all-star. Back in 2016, had 40 saves that year, ERA of 2.81. It was, again, that 2016 season. Ramos was dealing as the closer, took over from Steve Cishek. And really, if you look at it, just kind of that 1 year, that kind of stands alone as his highlight of his career. But AJ Ramos had the whole, the wind up where he'd come into the stretch, and it looked like he was balking almost every time because his front foot would go up and down about 3 or 4 times. I remember when I was younger, I'd pretend to pitch from the exact same motion in the stretch. So AJ Ramos, still remember you, and yeah, we'll go Ramos.
Okay. Right. And what year is that? Sorry.
2016.
2016. Okay.
Right.
Okay, and I got best actor and best supporting. Do have to shout out to AJ. AJ went to Texas Tech, which is where I live by and work right now. So I've seen.
There you go, Red Raiders.
I've seen your college haunts. Pitching as well as you did in college with the win here. That's something. All right, I got best actor and best supporting. Still got a lot of good choices, and I'm the only one who needs an actor, so I think I'll go supporting here. And I'll take the kind of the suggestion from Eli. I'll take Tanner Scott.
Oh my God.
Actually, mostly because I figured it might screw with Kevin. I'll take Tanner.
Yeah.
Kevin, start thinking again.
I already have my second choice, thankfully.
4.9 win probability added. That is the third highest from a pitcher in Marlins history, behind the big 3 Cy Young caliber pitching seasons. That we've had from a starting pitcher. That just kind of underscores how dominant he was, able to put it together. I have pretty much no concerns yet about 2024 spring training. I'm sure he's just working on stuff. But 2023 just really transformed into one of the most dominant relief arms in the game in a way that we had not seen peer for a very long time from a late inning reliever. And so happy to have him here and give shed some of my own flowers on the 2023 season that really was fun as hell to watch. So AJ, Tanner Scott, 2023.
All right. So I guess these are my last 2 picks. So, all right, best song. I found the song. It is called "Just Getting Started." It was from 2018. That's when they did. That was one of the first songs I think they did with the new regime. I think Miggy Rose in there. The logo shows Marlins Park, what was Marlins Park at the time. So it slides. And we will go with best supporting cast, I guess is what it's called. We'll go with Rob Nen in 1997, 35 saves, 3 something ERA. It was a 3.89 ERA, which but a 3.77 FIP. He was really good. So and he was a part of that 97 team. So we will go with Rob Nen for best supporting cast. And once again, Eli's laughing. Why are my picks so bad?
I mean, just getting started. It was.
I mean, what else can I choose?
We'll get to honorable mentions. But
they got some star power in that song. DJ Khaled made
Miggy Rose in there, man. Come on,
that one. We just getting started. We just getting started. It was, it just was. I just didn't enjoy it. I thought that.
Hey man,
me personally, maybe because I listened to it too much. They
I had to remind myself it existed.
Yeah, they played it a lot, like leading up to that season. I remember even seeing some behind the scenes video. They're like going inside the studio, and there's not a whole lot to show. But that was it felt like they had to do something. You're right. I'm pretty sure that was 2018, right? That was heading into the very first season under new administration. Yeah. It was, so I guess I remember kind of vividly just because this is the first like full year where I was in charge of Fish Stripes, and I was like really on top of like that was the first time that I was super deep into all the social media chatter on that type of thing. But yeah, anyway, congratulations on making your picks, Kevin.
All right. So I'm at best actor, and there's so many good choices here. I'm gonna go with, though I'm don't want to choose. There's let's just go with the best season we've had from a baseball player in South Florida, and we'll take Gary Sheffield in 1996. Highest WAR, totally dominant, had the home run record until for the Marlins until 2017. Just elite on base percentage that season, and just it's the single most impressive regular season I had seen from the Marlins, aside from possibly that Miguel Cabrera year we touched on earlier. But if you go by what it meant and getting on base, that still Sheffield was just otherworldly, and he should be in the Hall of Fame. When the 96 season, one of many reasons Sheffield should be in Cooperstown. But happy to get him here at the end. And we're back to you, Jeremiah.
All right, so best song. Wow, it threw me for a loop. Not really gonna exaggerate this one. Don't know too many Marlins related songs, but last year, so I don't know how I remember this. For some reason, I'm on YouTube and I came across this rap song. It's literally just called Jazz Chisel by PK. I swear. So,
I remember this.
You remember that one?
This guy used it as a walk-up song too.
Yeah. So I'm a winner. I'm knocking this shit out the park like I'm Jazz Chisholm. I'm gonna go that one because honestly, it's kind of funny, and that's honestly the only one I really know. So we'll go that one.
Okay, like it.
The jazz rap, yeah.
Just go with the jazz rap.
I like that.
I believe, I can't like prove it, but I'm pretty sure indirectly I did make Jazz aware of it. I don't think he was aware of the song initially, and like I dug it up on YouTube and I tagged him, and I sent like a DM to the artist. I think you said his name, isn't it? Like P.K? Yeah,
Yeah.
K-Y-E. I thought it was kind of catchy.
That seems right.
It really sounds good. I like it. So.
It didn't last the whole season as his walk-up song, but at least for a portion of time he was using
I think he got it. He used it at the start of the season for sure. Yeah.
I know the views. It only's got 1.4 thousand views on YouTube, so it didn't really hit the top Billboard.
If I was not copyright terrified, we'd be playing all the songs.
Yeah.
Or at least clips, but not.
Yeah. So
my best
picture to close this out, my best picture choice is fairly clear. I just left it to the end because you guys already left it the chance to draft yours.
Mm-hmm.
But I will obviously go with 1997 as my pick of the remaining ones out there. From wire to wire, high expectations, a lot of hype, going all the way back to spring training of that year. As is often mentioned, the best spring training record the franchise has ever had, 26-5, and they were pretty consistently good throughout that regular season. It was, and I mean, they made it through the National League side of the playoffs fairly easily, but got all they could handle in the World Series itself against Cleveland. And an incredible ending to that in Game 7 with that walk-off blooper to seal the first World Series championship in franchise history that year. So there's not much else to get into right there. That was an awesome ride, and overall, I'm pretty satisfied with my selections.
Well, I would be, especially getting that at the end. It's a pretty great achievement. I was there for Game 7 to see that
nice.
take place, and no, it's once in a lifetime moment. With the exception, of course, that they won again. Didn't do that, but being there to experience it once in a lifetime.
Hey, it's the first one, moment. So.
But, all right, maybe so. I saw a lot of cool stuff on the board, so maybe everyone run through like an honorable mention, something that you had in your mind that you almost got to or almost chose, surprised it didn't make it onto the boards. Eli, we can start with you on that. Something that you're.
Yeah, well, for best actor, in terms of guys that were available in 2005, I thought Kevin left a player on the board. I would have gone with Dontrell Willis if down for that, in 2005. Probably should have won the Cy Young. He finished runner-up. It was the peak of his career, and I would say pretty definitively it was the best individual. Well, either him or Kevin Brown had an awesome season himself that was in the conversation, but I'd say that D-Train's 2005 was, up until Sandy, it was the most complete starting pitcher performance in franchise history for somebody that burst onto the scene a couple of years earlier, and you thought satisfied with him as a very good starter. For him to reach that level was shocking. And even though, as we know, he did not sustain it whatsoever beyond that, it was, he was a sensation for his performance and for his such unique delivery as well. So that was a great combination of durability and just excellence and style that year. So it's a shame that 2005 team didn't sneak into the playoffs because there was a lot of star power there.
Would have been so much fun. Yeah, I'm still spitting mad that D-Train lost to Chris Carpenter that season for the Cy Young. Jeremiah, honorable mention?
Honorable mention for me, best actor, going to be Jose Fernandez, 2016. Ultimately his last season, and one of my favorite Marlins of all time. Still remember the first time I got to see him pitch live, and never forget that, and never forget the day he passed. So, 2016, Jose.
Okay. For me, so others like Eli kind of mentioned it with Kevin Brown, and that's probably the second most dominant season we've honestly seen in a lot of ways from a Marlins player was Kevin Brown in 96. And then he was also pretty much otherworldly in 97 too. But was just, so much better in 96 under, sub 2 ERA. It was just massive. I almost said Pudge for 2003. So lower down in terms of WAR and everything, but just transformative for that roster. And in the postseason, just went on a massive tear. And then other one, I almost picked one. I was almost 1 year later on my screenplay pick. I almost bumped Dave Dombrowski for instead of 97. I almost picked 98 Dombrowski, just because obviously the 98 team that was on the field sucked, but Dave traded the 97 world champions for almost every impact player that was on the 2003 world championship team within a few months of that. So just, again, cementing him as the best overall GM. Yeah, for sure. Kevin, honorable mentions?
So I was looking back, and you could probably go with Hanley in 09, where he won the batting title, finished runner-up for the MVP, 410 OBP, 24 home runs, 106 RBIs. You got to go with Hanley there. And I guess you guys mentioned 05. That was a really fun season, too. They almost made it. Eli mentioned a lot of star power. That probably could have been thrown around, but, those I think we chose pretty well with what we already have up there.
I have one for best song worth mentioning. Pitbull's Marlins Time to Represent. I did not know the name off the top of my head, but it was called Marlins Time to Represent. Here we go, Marlins, it's time to represent.
What year was that?
2009.
2000,
yeah. So it was right before Marlins Will Soar, and it would have cracked my top four. I enjoyed that a little bit more than Gloria Estefan's. I enjoyed it a lot more than Just Getting Started. And that would probably have been, I didn't know the name off the top of my head, but that would have been my runner-up choice if for whatever reason somebody had sniped Marlins Will Soar for me.
My only other one for song was Trendy by Real Big Fish. That is cut the part where it leads off with Everyone's Doing the Fish. And that was on every Miami radio and news station in 97. For that season. Just captured the song, but since it's just called Trendy, I figured that would have just confused people if I put that on Twitter. And that's what we're going to do with the results. So we'll put this out there. It's kind of heading into, the Oscars weekend out there. So we'll I'll throw some polls up, and we'll just let Marlins Twitter decide on the nominees in these categories: Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Supporting, Best Director, Best Screenplay, and Best Song. And of course, to also throw a graphic out there just asking our Marlins fans faithful to tell us who won this draft. Sorry, this guy, but probably Eli. I'm just getting 97 at the end. That's daunting.
They don't need to know when we chose them. They just need to know what we chose.
That's true. Yeah, they'd have to have watched to know that.
Exactly.
But all right, guys, before I let you go, anything you want to promote across your platforms?
Just a lot of the usual stuff. New pod coming out tomorrow with our annual bold predictions with Kevin, myself, and Isaac Azut. Just generally speaking, for anybody that may be listening that is actually based in South Florida, I am making my annual spring training visit beginning this upcoming Monday. It'll be all of next week. We'll be fully based in South Florida, enjoying some spring training stuff, as well as planning ahead for the upcoming season. So anybody down there that hasn't already gotten to see me in person, come down and say hi. Whether you're in I'll be spending most of that time at the Roger Dean backfields or in the stadium itself. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, most of us will be there on Saturday. So yeah.
All right, cool. And Jeremiah, anything? So
if you want to check out Marlins 9, my podcast, it's wherever you get your pods. Just recorded a really fun one today with Peter Pratt over from Locked On Marlins. So finally got him on the podcast. It was really good talking with him. So, Kevin, got to get you on.
Hey, let me know whenever you want.
Yeah, let's do it. But every Thursday and Sunday. So kind of establish the schedule. Next podcast will be Sunday, and that's kind of like how I'll be doing it throughout the season, midway through the week, and then kind of a week recap on the weekend series and a preview in the next week. So looking forward to this season. It's going to be really fun.
All right. And yes, for myself, of course, you can find me here on Marlins After Dark. Always find my work on Twitter at Miami Sports Minute, contribute to Marlin Maniac and Call to the Pen. Occasionally, here's the pitch. And so till next time, this is Marlins After Dark. Go Fish.